All right. So my Discord guys. We can start. All right. Let's start. Faust, good morning. John Chuck, good morning. All right, let's start. Welcome to Tradespoon and Yellow Tunnel. My name is Vlad Karpel. I'm CEO and founder of both companies, and today we're going to have a live chat event. Do me a favor, type in first. Always want to welcome new subscribers. This is a brief bio. Disclosures are very important. Please read them. Trading stock and options involve risk, not suitable for everyone. If you need to trade in stock or options, I encourage you to visit optionscreening.com so you can understand the risk associated with trading stock or options. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not registered with FINRA nor SEC. I'm showing you what I do in my own account based on my own risk tolerance level for general education information purposes only. Again, the goal is to become a disciplined, confident trader, build part-time, full-time income based on your goals. That requires certain approach, process. I think process is more important than the outcome. So how do you build the process? I think it has to be a routine, right? That every day you repeat the same routine. You look at the pre-market data, you look at the retail numbers, you look at Powell's speech, you look at interest rates, currency, volatility, pre-market, and you have a view where the pre-market price action is. You keep a journal, right? In your journal, I would document all the trades. I would document all the trades and have a checklist, right? And have a checklist. So in the checklist, cash is important. I propose not to buy in margin and have always, on average, 30% portfolio in cash, especially when volatility rises, right? VIX approaching 20. Portfolio drawdown. Look at what is your maximum exposure to the market, right? What is the maximum risk? Since most of our subscribers are individual investors, I mean, we have few money managers, but they usually have some more sophisticated software. Individual investors, you just look at your position, number of position, what's the maximum, and the stop loss, right? So I encourage you to decide on the stop loss for each of the positions and look at number of positions, and drawdown in this example would be only 10%. You have 4 positions, 2.5%, that would be on the conservative side. Right? Most money managers, they're looking 15, 17% drawdown. So 10%, I think, is conservative. That means 4 positions, 2.5%. Another checklist before you put on a trade could be, wait for 2 to 3 days to confirm the trend change, right? We had 2-3 weeks or 3 weeks in a row of lower highs, lower lows. Usually that means that at least short term, the trend is changing, right? So before you become very bullish, you probably want to have kind of the opposite, right? Maybe wait for 2 to 3 days where we have before you decide, whether the trend is changing or not. Allow more time. At this point, probably April is expiring. We're going to have more probably volatility on Friday coming out. So allow more time. Maybe instead of, if you still want to be bullish in your May position, maybe start thinking about closing May. Definitely want to close the April, especially at the money or in the money options, because there's only appropriate, right? So allow more time, allow more space. Look at the intradays because we still have geopolitical risks and higher inflation. So to determine the stock, let's look at stock forecast toolbox. Model C 500. So 500 is now what is a support, right? So 500 and overhead resistance is 507, and potentially reaching 480 in the next 10 days. So model is getting more and more bearish because of the weak rebound. So bulls have to be able to get above 50-day, I would say above 515 for the trend to change. So as long as we're below 515, below 50-day moving average, bears in control, the model basically sees that there is a, high potential probability that if this level doesn't hold, which is the NVIDIA earnings, then the next price action is to close the gap for 90, probably gonna 480. Let's see that I fix my, so this is the support number one. Bulls wanna hold the gap and the Bollinger Band, 492, maybe 494 is support number two. And then long-term breakout, right? So this is short-term support. This is short-term support. This is support, right? The breakout at 480. So if you're doing short-term trading and you think this level will hold, I would maybe give myself 1%, right? 5 points as a stop loss. Longer term, I would do 10 points stop loss, 2% as your stop loss, right? If you're thinking about medium term. And if you think about long term, then I would give myself, maybe 5, 10, 20. So 5, 10, 20. So that means it depends on what kind of trader you are. If you're a short-term aggressive trader, are you medium-term or long-term trader, your size of the position changes, right? Because if you're long-term and you're thinking about that, I wouldn't risk more than 12 shares on S&P, right? That's $250. If you're doing 10 shares on medium term, then I would do maybe 25 shares. And if you're an aggressive short-term trader, then I would do 50 shares. So that's important to understand that depends on your time horizon, the size of the position changes, right? So based on how quickly you want to make decision and your risk tolerance. So that's long-term, medium-term, and short-term positions. You can find them on. In terms of positioning, let's see how people are positioned. Biggest position is 497, 499. So you really don't have much hedging till 499, 497. So that's why I would say 1%. If we break below 497, I would take a big position on Friday is 500, right? 500. It's a pretty big position. So it looks like at least for now, up until Friday, 500 level is pretty well defended. Then we have Apex exploration and put buy on 480. Again, this doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen, but if there is any new information or negative news, potentially market could slide to 480, right, and rather quickly during or after options expiration. So I would watch next couple of days. In terms of earnings, so we did United Airlines. United Airlines is up 8%, right? So volatility is picking up. Abbott USB is down 4%. ASML down 4%. Travelers are down 5%. Now it's up 40 basis points. So let's keep an eye on USB and decide. Let's see how much it's worth. Okay, so 39.49. So yesterday we placed a trade. Let's see, earnings power trader. So I have 45.5 call and 46.5 call, right? 45.5 and 46.5. And United Airlines is getting close to 45, right? It's getting close to 45 call. All right, so United Airlines, 45.5. And let's look at, so usually I would wait 15 minutes and see in terms of how people are positioning and then where's the support and resistance levels. But let's look at United Airlines as of yesterday. So 46, So you do have the largest position is actually at 50, and then 46 and 40. You do have, so the largest position is actually 49, and you do have positioning at 46 is the first line of defense. Five minutes. Looks like it's pulling back. USB is 39. Let's look at USB, also announced earnings. So Travelers is down 7%. That's what I thought. Travelers is down 7%. $105. See how ABT is behaving. So ABT looks like it continues to drop. And ASML is down 6%, right? So this is the first. We talked about Qualcomm and ASML yesterday. So ASML is the first semiconductor to announce earnings. It is down 5%. All right, United Airlines is up 4%. Let's see what the position is now worth. Usually I wait 15 minutes, right? So we have one candlestick, 5 minutes. United Airlines continues selling premium versus buying premium, right? Long vol or short vol. So this is a perfect example where United Airlines is moving basically 2 standard deviation, right? Which only should happen a few times, but you know, market is volatile. So today is an example where it's moving. So 45.5, it's 46.5. I mean, one way to do it is to wait, kind of doing the opposite. With Bank of America, I closed it. I was thinking about that, depending on positioning, right? Let's assume it's not going to go through this. It's not going to go to 49, right? 49 was the position, or at least stop it. Right? 45.5 call for profit, and then hedge 46.5 call, right? Assuming that it's not going to go much higher. So maybe this is something we can, let's see. Well, let's wait another maybe 5 minutes and see where we're staying, because it looks like position is not changing. So it's been almost 10 minutes, so I'm just waiting. And again, the idea is to place a trade for a small, right? So I paid 4 cents and actually here received credit of 2 cents or paid 3 cents. So basically it didn't cost me anything to put on the trade, right? Usually, 3 candlestick is enough to kind of determine that. So United Airlines 45.5 up almost 10%. And in terms of positioning, 46.5 is pretty well positioned, right? In terms of sell of the call. So at that point, it should stay there. But if there's, let's say, positive news in the market, it could jump to 49. But let's assume 46.5 will stay. All right, 841. CFG's up. Travel's down 6%, ASML down 6%. All right, so United Airlines, it's still going higher. Let's look at the market. Qualcomm is up. So Apple is up, Amazon, Meta is flat, Microsoft up. So it looks like market is up. Let's see how much. Spiders are up 0.5%, 505. QQQ, 30 basis semiconductors are flat, okay? And United Airlines continues to go higher. Let's see how much is the spread now worse. So United Airline, basically still flat. All right, questions. Let's go over the questions. So, airline chart. You should be able, yeah, it's United Airline chart right now. That's what you should be seeing. Good morning, Carmen. Carmen, so on United Airline, I have both. On the United Airline, I have both. I have a put spread and a call spread, right? So it's a ratio spread. That's why it was only 5 cents. So I bought 145.5 and sold 246.5, right? 1 to 2. And I'm waiting for three candlestick to see where United Airline is going to gravitate toward. And right now it's gravitating toward this upper strike, right? Right at the 46. This is where the highest position is. It's not a very large Vanna, maybe only 1,000 compared to, May contracts where there is 4,000. But nonetheless, it is pretty large positioning at 46, and the next one is around 49.50. Probably cannot get to 49.50, but reasonable to assume that it's getting to 46 and staying at 46. All right, but let's see. So but CFG. And USB, let's see, USB. So if you did the USB trade, we talked about 44 call. So, sorry, 40 put. USB is 39 put, right? 39 put. 39 put. Okay, so we have 15 minutes. Candlestick. All right, let's look at USB. Abbott, United Airlines. So it looks like United Airlines now is at 46 strike, up 11%, kind of staying at that level, not breaking down. All right, while we're waiting for United Airlines, let's go over other questions. Mario, could you review what options position shows about gold? Sure. So gold, we did have a pretty large reversal on Friday. Usually that's a sign of some kind of a consolidation, right? So Friday, very large move. We were up 3-4%, ended up down, and now we're kind of trading flat. And similar consolidation before the next leg up, or it could be consolidation before the next leg down. So in So on the downside, you do have in May position around 210. So I think 210 is fairly well defended in gold. And there are a lot of call buying into 230 and 240. So still bullish bias. People are buying. Carmen, why did I buy both? Well, I didn't know, but I actually had a negative bias. United Airlines usually, surprises them to the downside. This time it was surprised to the upside. I mean, they're still losing money, but not as much money as everybody thought or they announced before. So since I didn't know which way the market is going to go, I put, by risking, relatively small amount, I'm looking at outsized move, right? We talked about, like before, sometimes I do iron counters. So in this example, I said it doesn't make for me. It doesn't make sense to do iron counter because you have these large positive surprises, whether it's a Travelers, whether it's ASML, Abbott. You have two standard deviation moves, right? United Airlines, if you look at the past few quarters or even few years, very rarely or never moves 12%, right? So for that reason, you want to be kind of either debit call spread, debit put spread, or you can do butterfly, right? But you want to be long. If you don't want to spend a lot of money on the debit spread, then I did the ratio spread. And let's see what's the ratio spread is worth right now. Well, I think United Airlines basically is gravitating toward, well, now 46.5. 46.5. So 46.5 is right this middle strike, right? So in theory, 46.5 should hold, right? But you know, there is another positive momentum. It could get to 50, right? I mean, 48, 49, 50. So we'll just have to wait and see. Any other questions? So Abbott, USB. Let's look at USB. So United Airlines continues to grind, so it looks like 46.5 is where we're gonna stay right now. We'll see if that level holds or not. And then USB, just trying to rebound. USB is the same thing. You can close the long put and short put, wait if it bounces back, or buy a hedge, right? Another thing is now get into a butterfly, right? By buying, you know, if you're short 39 put, you long, if you long 39 put, short 38 put, you can buy 37 put. And then this way you're hedged, and then, you know, time is on your side, right? Because you're waiting for the 38 put to lose its premium. Kind of what we can do on United Airlines as well. All right, so that's USB. Let's see, ABT. And then Abbott, let's see, is Abbott holding on? All right, United Airlines. So it looks like we're gravitating toward 46.5. I don't really see any pullback. All right, let's see any other questions. Well, you know, the puts right now, I would wait to see where the overhead resistance is. Based on the previous positioning, I think it is right where it is now, 46.5. Right? I mean, we could get to 47, but I think we'll gravitate toward 46.5. The good news is that I decided to be long volatility, right? So I do have 45.5 call. So I'm long 45.5 call, and 46.5 call. If it doesn't break that level, there will be time decay. So in theory, I'm just waiting to find some kind of stabilization because we're still making new highs, and it's been already half an hour into the session. So now at this point, I have to be patient. Mario, thank you. People, I think, Carmen, people are buying gold because of fear of inflation, higher for longer in inflation. Joseph, how's XLE holding up? So, okay, so let's review the positions. I know Bob doesn't like when I spend too much time on these earnings trades. So let's review them. Okay. So XLE, pretty sharp pullback, right? Talking about 2 to 3 days. Probably the top is set, right? I would be surprised, at least short term, for the energy to break above 98, right? So for now, I would sell into the rallies on XLE. Silver is up 2%. LA Lilly is up 2% on the better than expected results. Gold is up. GDX is up. Gold is flat. And continues to fall. So it's good that I close that position. And then FXI, right? The yen continues to drop. That's kind of the risk to the market. Our interest rates, right? It's all about interest rates. So 10-year yield pulling back today, 1%. Right? Let's see what's the in terms of economic calendar. So we have a Powell speech yesterday, right? He basically said that potentially, first rate cut might not happen. Probably not going to happen at this point. It doesn't look like it's going to happen the first half of the year. Maybe September, maybe December, right? So nobody, or maybe not at all, right? So, but market actually is up today, so that's good. It seems like the inflation and rates are already factored in. We do have leading indicators in 1 minute. US leading indicator will come out in 1 minute. And we have a lot of presidents of different regions, New York, Atlanta, given state of the economy and given speech. So there will be a lot of, all of that could cause bearish. VIX did pull back, but still at 18 level. So it's pretty, and you can see QQQ is flat. Semis are actually pulling back. Spiders are slightly higher, IWM slightly higher. So still very vulnerable setup, right? In terms of other, you have home builders continue to struggle, right? Sharp pullback in home builders. Metals and miners looks like again building consolidating. China, weaker China continues to pull back. Let's see what else is interesting. Pretty sharp pullback in REITs, pretty sharp pullback in healthcare, right? A 200-day moving average, consumer discretionary, 200-day moving average, retail, down, XLK flat. So today value stocks are bouncing back because they sold off the most, still below 50-day moving average. Let's see, Germany, below 50-day moving average, pretty weak. Small caps, below 50-day moving average, pretty weak. Oil, XOP, sharp pullback, right? 3 days in a row of sharp pullback. That's considered to be a very bearish strategy. Probably the toughest set short term. So it looks like LA Lily is up today in silver, and gold miners are up today. Microsoft slightly higher, Meta slightly lower, Amazon flat, Apple flat, Nvidia slightly down, Micron, Qualcomm slightly down. Okay, UNH is up. Okay, so United Airlines, let's see. Are we reversing or not? Okay. All right, so it looks like we're reversing. It's 9:02, so let's do that. I'm going to close the long call. So I do have 45.5 call. It's in the money. I'm going to close that. And make $1.18. So at this point, I'm up $1.18. Right, it was a small investment, $1.20. $1.23.24. Okay, so I'm up $1.24, right? With very little spend. But the risk is that United Airlines is going to continue going higher. And now I still have 46.5 short calls, which is basically at the money. So I need to hedge them, right? I don't want to be naked calls. That's not a good strategy. So I can go in and basically buy. Well, I can just buy the short call and, you know, basically break even. Or I can try to wait for pullback, more meaningful pullback. And maybe buy 47, and so I sold it what for $1.24. So I sold it for $1.24, 46.5 call, 40 minutes, or 46.5, 48. Right. So this way I'm hedged, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't think it's going to get. So let's do 48.5. Buy to open 2 for 18 cents. Okay. So I collected $1.24 and I spent 34 cents, right? So I'm up 90 cents right now, so maybe to 44.5. And then the short calls, the 46.5 calls will expire worthless, right? The 46.5 calls will expire worthless, right? So I can put an order to try to, you know, close them. For now, I'll put them for. See if I can close them for 10 cents. But right now, that's the risk. I mean, I'm limiting my risk because I have 48.5 call. So worst case scenario, it gets to 48.5. Then I'm down $2, right? So then I would be down $2 on 2 contracts. And I collected $1.24. So so that just depends, right? So that it depends. It looks like it's starting to consolidate. Right? We haven't made new highs in the past 30 minutes. It did broke through the support, so we just have to wait and see. Right? It's 9:05. Scott is managing. I have to wait till the end. Maybe I'll just close it and take a small loss. But watch for SMS setting and the messages. In terms of other positions, Amazon, still on Amazon, we're approaching earnings. Netflix is going to announce earnings. So we'll see how the mega cap technology stocks. I think that's one place. If last year higher for longer, you know, technology has performed better than the rest of the stocks. So it's still above 50-day moving average. It's above this uptrend. So Amazon is continue to be strong. Still long gold, right? I've been long gold, long NVO. LA Lily had a good announcement today, so it looks like NVO is trying to get above 50-day moving average and above this downtrend. Again, ASML had disappointing earnings. It's actually testing this uptrend. Still above 50-day moving average. Let's look at SMH, I think tomorrow. So, I mean, if there's more earnings like ASML, then, then I think this 50-day moving average will not hold for semiconductors, because a lot of the rally and strength in the market is contingent upon, that earnings will be delivered, and stronger earnings. And United Airlines had good earnings. United National Healthcare Group had better than expected earnings, but they were, extremely oversold. So it makes sense that they rally. But you still see, 2 standard deviation move in travelers, 2 standard deviation move in ASML. So that's concerning. If the inflation goes up and interest rates go up, then the market does go down. So that's the risk. The risk is that inflation is going to stay stickier than expected, and we have replay of 70s and the 80s, right? Where, so that's the fear, and that's why gold is going up. If inflation goes up, oil should continue to grind higher, right? The term has been strong, right? You can see strong, and it's consolidating. But when the inflation is higher, unless it's a runaway inflation, right, and we have, stagflation, but assuming that this is not a runaway inflation, this is just higher for longer, but, earnings are still strong and people are employed, then people will gravitate toward commodities, whether it's aluminum, right, whether it's aluminum prices or copper. Then these are the places where people gonna park their money. See, so I mean, market is weak, right? QQQ turning negative, semiconductors, spiders. So any rebound is met with kind of sellers stepping in. So I think it's important to hold on to your hedges, right? We do have 3 weeks in a row of lower lows. And we're sitting at 505 as a key support level. If we break 505, I mean, it opens the door to 480 basically. So I would watch 505 level. So I do have SH. If you're not comfortable buying puts, then buying SH, right, is inverse ETF should increase in value if spiders pull back. Silver, I do have 28.30 call. I closed the long spread because it's consolidating, and I think volatility is dropping, right, in silver and precious metals. So I want to, ideally buy and pull back. So maybe at 25, if it gets to 25, I would be a buyer. But silver continues to grind high. We talked about United Airlines. I do have a put spread. I closed QQQ put spread. I'm holding 495, 475, and 470 put. So I do have, almost a butterfly, but it's not 2 to 1. It's 1, 1, 1. So more long puts, because I think this level might not hold. Right? There's not a lot of positioning. Earnings kind of a mixed bag. You have for one, Delta Airline, you have Abbott or Travelers. So I'm not sure if Spider is going to hold this level. So far, any rebound has been extremely weak. So that opens the door to potentially get to 490 level. So I think right now, portfolio neutral, right? We're still kind of early in the earnings season. So I would be either neutral, right, for have 2 bullish to bearish positions. If you have a bearish bias, if you think inflation is longer and, earnings are not going to save the day, then, you have more bearish position than bullish. And if your opinion is the opposite, earnings are going to be strong and everybody that has jobs and retail numbers are strong, then okay, then you can do the opposite, right? You can be more bullish. As long as interest rates are elevated, above, ideally below 4.35, the breakout, but at least below 4.5. And then same thing with high yield. It's kind of precipitously dropping. I still have XLE call spread. Ideally on the rebound, I wanted to close the XLE call spread. LF cover call, right? Actually, ratio. It gets to 50-day moving average, close the long XLF. That's kind of my goal. But I'm covered because I have a put, right? Merit put. Questions? Bob, traveling, welcome back. Bob, we miss you. Thank you for checking in. I did spend a lot of time on United Airlines talking about that. But it's a position, life position. It's a good example, right? And and this is, I think, this is an example of this asymmetric return, right? Let's assume United. I mean, there's always obviously a risk, but if United Airlines does pull back together with the market, that this is where, and I could have done butterfly, right? Maybe in retrospect, should have just bought these out of the money puts calls. But you can risk less, right? This time I did flat because I did ratio spread, but I could have spent another 5 cents, 10 cents, and be in a butterfly, right? This way, you basically, right? But you could have these outsized returns, right? You could be, I mean, if let's 1 cent and made 90 cents, right? So you could have these 10 times, 5 times returns, which are usually rare, but when you have that volatility in the market, that is something to be. And Cecile, is she here? Cecile is not here, right? So, and then you just need to be careful of being short, short the volatility, because a lot of people do want to short volatility right now, and that's a great strategy, assuming volatility drops, right? But if VIX is not going to drop, right, if volatility is going to bounce back and get to break above this level, 20 level, which is considered to be, this is historical average is 20, but if we get to 22, right, October, November highs, or even higher, then, you want to be long volatility, right? You want to be long volatility, you want to be short volatility. So a lot of these strategies just has to do with how, your view on the volatility is. Carmen, thank you for being here. Dump it. Okay. Let's see, 46. So, I mean, it's 46.5 call is now trading at 55 cents. 55 cents. So if I close it now, $55.10. I mean, still would just be, I would just break. Okay, let's look at the other positions. Okay, so 916. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. We have a lot of people today, a large audience. Thank you on YouTube. Please click subscribe button if you haven't done that. If you like the content, please share it on YouTube. Same thing on Discord, please share it. If you find this information useful every day you're here, I appreciate that. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. And Aviva, Bob, Carmen, Carol, Chuck, Claude, David, Ed, Ernest, Faust, Fred, Jim, John, Joseph, Lalit, Mario, Mark, Martin, Maurice, Patrick, Raul, Raymond, Ted, Bill, Mark, Steve. Thank you very much. This PM, and I'll do the AM. Can't see me on YouTube. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and have a great day.